Today is a sad day, and quite frankly, a lot of people get really embarrassed when they get scammed. They don't want to talk about it, but I have done a lot of scam videos here. In other words, how not to get scammed. But this happened to me tonight, and I got scammed out of $500. That was supposed to go towards the purchase of a car, a used car for me, which I've been trying forever to buy. It just seems to be impossible to save up $5,000 to buy something decent. And I don't want to just buy some clunker that's going to strand me on the highway going to my parents, because that's mainly where I want to go, because they're not in good shape and they really need somebody there full time, and they're stubborn as hell. That's where I get it from. So I wanted to get something that can handle the highway from here to the Okanagan, and something decent. So I've been looking on Facebook Marketplace and sort of exhausted my search there. And then earlier tonight, or last night technically now, I just can't sleep. I just feel sick about it. So earlier last night, I went on to Craigslist, and I'm going through different ads and stuff, and I see an ad for a 1970 Dodge Challenger. And I used to have a Chevy Nova from 1973, I think it was. And I'm thinking, God, that car doesn't even look like it's in that bad shape. It was supposedly, the story in the ad read that she had bought the car for her husband, and he had spent a month working on it and then hadn't worked on it since then. That was 16 months ago. He's now in Australia. And as part of their divorce, because the car was in her name, it came with her as part of her divorce. And so now she's moving. She says she needs to get rid of it before she moves. And she's asking $6,000. Now, I literally have had like $3,000 to look for a car, which is what I was just saying. I don't want to settle and just spend $3,000. But I'm looking at this car and I'm like, don't people buy these cars and refurbish them? It's probably worth a pretty penny. And I look it up, and sure enough, a Dodge Challenger sells for an average of $80,000. It's a major collector's car if it's refurbished, right? Without hesitating, I called the number and get her answering machine, and I leave a message saying, please give me a call back about the car. I'm really interested. And I'm getting really, really excited. Like, I'm just shaking like a leaf. I'm like, holy cow. I'm reading that the most expensive one sold in Canada in the last 3 years for $340,000. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this could be my ticket to freedom. I could actually buy a houseboat with that money, or I could buy a fifth wheel. You know, these are things that those are my dream, is to have a forever home. I'd love to buy a houseboat as a single lady that, you know, my kid's almost out of the house, and yeah, I was so fucking excited. So then I realized that her ad says text Amber at blah, blah, blah. So I text her and I'm like, sorry, I didn't realize, I just noticed your ad says to text you. I'm really interested in the car. And she responds back with, I'm just talking to a fellow right now who is about to send me $500 down payment on it and wants me to hold it for him till Tuesday. And then he's going to come with the other $5,000, which means that he negotiated her down $500 from her asking price of $6,000. So I said, I wrote back right away, I'll send you $1,000 to hold it for me. And I'll come on by Wednesday and bring you the other $5,000. And I'm thinking to myself, I can maybe borrow money from my best friend out in Toronto. Maybe I can borrow some money from my sister, and I can at least tell them I'll pay them back, because even if I don't refurbish it, artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, has told me that $6,000 is very cheap for that car. And basically to be careful, because those cars, even if it's in project form, so, you know, it's somebody's project, they can sell for upwards of $20,000 minimum. So it's a low price. And so I want this car. I'm thinking this lady doesn't know what she's talking about. Like, she doesn't obviously understand this car, because she said that at the end of her ad. I don't know much about it. You're welcome to come take a look. So everything sounded legitimate. So I'm so excited. But before I do anything of sending money, I check with ChatGPT. And I run the whole thing past ChatGPT to ask their opinion. And ChatGPT tells me, be careful, this could be a scam. You need to verify this, verify that. So this supposed woman, Amber, is at work, supposedly. And she tells me the name of the place she works at, which is the park on Davie Street. And I called there and find out that, yes, they have an employee, a waitress there called Amber. I said to her, can we talk at least so I can hear your voice so I know you're legitimate? And do you know the VIN number for the vehicle? The registration's in your name, right? And she says, well, I don't get out of here until 2:30 because it's a pub she works at, or a lounge. And she says, but I can as soon as I get home. But I've gone ahead and I've canceled the negotiating with the other guy, and I've taken down the ad for you. So, as long as you're 100% here, you are 100%, right? And I said, absolutely, I am. And I'll send you $1,000. And she goes, I don't need 1,000. I just 500 is fine. So I sent her $500. And I start to really check out the ID card that she sent me. I called the pub as well, the lounge, and there's an Amber that works there. So I'm thinking, okay, she's legit. And but then I start to really look at the ID card. And I notice right away, as I'm looking at it closer, I notice like 5 or 6 different, just some discrepancies. For one, there was no weight on the card, which I couldn't imagine. Why would they not put her weight on the card? I've never heard of something like that. It was just blank. And then I looked at the measurements of her, and it said she was 193 centimeters, and I'm thinking that's really tall. And so that works out to about 6'3" or 6'4". So I'm thinking, holy shit, how is she that tall? That's crazy for a woman. But there are women that are that tall. But then I looked at it more carefully, and some of the letters were lighter than the others. And anyways, the e-transfer I sent her, it did actually auto deposit, and it did get auto deposited to her specific name. So her name was Jessica Amber, and then her last name. But she apparently just went by Amber. So there was nothing weird about that. Everything still seemed legit. Anyway, she was going to text me when she was done work, and I haven't heard from her still. And she supposedly got off work half an hour to an hour ago. So I've since called my bank to report the e-transfer as being fraudulent because, where it was sent was fraudulent. And I made a report with Canadian Fraud Society, whatever they're called, the fraud people of Canada. And then I'm just about to go make an online report with the police as well. So clever. Very clever. I just wonder if this girl Amber, whose information is all over the place on this supposed deal, is aware of that this is being done in with her name. I basically try to call her. There's no answer. She was supposedly getting off work between 2 and 2:30. It's now 3:15. Yeah, but that ID card, I should have looked at it more carefully. I should have looked at the pictures that they had posted more carefully. But I just got so excited just finding out what that car was worth. And just thinking, oh my God, could you imagine? Could you imagine if I could make $100,000 profit by refurbishing this car? I mean, and I would finally have a decent amount of money to buy a decent car, a decent used car, because I don't want to buy a 1998 car. I don't want to buy a car with 300,000 kilometers on it that might break down in the middle of the mountains when I'm off to the Okanagan to go and help take care of my parents. I want something that's going to be reliable. I really don't want any more car payments. I can't afford it. I have too many loans already that I'm paying off. I think I owe probably $50,000 in loans right now, Probably. Well, maybe not 50. Yeah, probably $50,000 in debt. you know, that's a lot of money. And I'm raising my teenage son by myself all this time since birth. Never gotten a penny from his father. So it's a real struggle trying to save any kind of chunk of money, especially when every time I turn around, there's more money needed. Like my son wants to go on a trip with his school to Japan in the spring. And I think he said it was like $5,000. And I told him, of course he can go. And I'll find a way to come up with the money. But that means sacrificing other things for myself, which I always do. And anyway, so the sad part is that, yes, I've made a report now to the bank. Yes, I've made a report to the fraud association. And yes, I'm about to, or was it the police, sorry. And yes, I'm about to make a report to the fraud association as well. And now I have a bunch of case numbers and file numbers. And RBC told me that an incident like this usually takes about 20 business days to complete, which puts me into like probably into December somewhere, right? Well, yeah, probably the end of November that I'm looking at when it's complete. And they're going to see if they can get the $500 back